Welcome to episode 315 of Game Deflators podcast. My name is John, and I'm joined by Ryan.
Hey, everybody, here at the Game Deflators podcast, we like to talk about games we've recently picked up, games we're currently playing, and Rome may not have been built in a day, but we don't let that stop us in this week's Inflation Deflation Challenge.
So this week we're playing some SimCity 2000. Ryan, we have mixed reviews, you and I.
Yes, we will. We'll get into that. Today, we're also going to be taking a look at Sony possibly purchasing Kadokawa in a bid for all of the souls. And then we usher in award season this week with the Golden Joystick and close it out with that look at SimCity 2000 and our inflation deflation.
And of course, you can find us on the GameDeflators.com, our currently out-of-date website. I have not been on there in a couple days, Ryan. I need to actually update a couple games that I'm currently playing, so we'll get to that in a little bit here. You can also find us on social media at Game Deflators on X and Blue Sky, at The Game Deflators on Instagram, Facebook, and Threads. We are also on YouTube, so ring the little bell so that way you know when we're on. Subscribe, comment, all the good stuff that comes with that. And of course, you could be listening to us right now. Leave a 5-star review. Go ahead and comment and share us everywhere. Definitely appreciate that.
Yeah.
So recent pickups. One of them I can't physically. I mean, I probably could have if I put it before the episode started. Ended up buying my wife one of the arcade 1-up Atari Legacy Centipede cabinets. Has a little light
I'm
up
sure you
marquee.
bought it for her.
No, I did actually. She likes Centipede. No, I legit, like, that's the only reason I bought it is because she likes Centipede. She'll listen to this episode in like a year and be like, yeah, okay, yeah, he bought it for me. So it was $200. They normally go for 500 retail. I didn't want to, and actually 500 retail, if you can find one on retail, they're sold out everywhere that I had looked. And there's another Atari cabinet that's out there that actually looked pretty badass. I really liked it. But it didn't have a light up marquee and it was like $550, I want to say. So some retiree out in like Buckeye had it for actually she wanted 300 and I offered 200. Said, yep, no problem, come take it. Dude, I didn't realize how big those damn things are until like fully built, until I stuck it in my car and it barely fit. So I'm happy I have drop down seats and a crossover, so I was able to at least fit it. But yeah, so we'll hook that up at some point. But light up marquee, like really hard plastic, like coin op section. It doesn't actually drop coins. It'd be pretty cool if it did. And it's got the tracker ball, little selector wheel thing on the side. Looks nice and clean. I'm happy with the purchase. I'm sure my wife's going to enjoy it. And she's a big Centipede fan and Millipede, so we'll have some fun with that. And then the other purchase I got today, and you could see it the entire time, and you'll see it also in episode 316 that comes out this Wednesday. I went ahead and got a 14 terabyte expansion drive for external, $170 instead of the normal $340 at Best Buy.
'Tis the season to buy storage.
Yeah. Yeah, it's supposed to run an Exos, Seagate Exos hard drive in here, which is like their highest quality hard drive. Either that or it's like an Iron Wolf Pro, which is not as good, but still decent. So 14 terabytes, can't beat that. So I'm probably going to go ahead and shuck that hard drive out of there and then stick it into my main desktop and then take one of my existing 2 terabyte hard drives and stick it into that case. And then I'll have that as an external for 2 terabytes. And then I'll have the 14 terabyte into my actual tower.
Awesome.
Yeah. And then I have it on the side here because I don't want to, mess this up. We do have a giveaway going on. So we have this retro gaming coloring book from Retro Game Books. Has some bookmarks, little card, sticker, some really cool stuff on there. So if you are listening to us on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe. That enters you to win. And if you're on social media as well, go ahead and like our post that has that to help spread awareness. I mean, unless you don't want to, just subscribe and don't tell anybody because then you have a better chance of winning. But the key thing is subscribe. That's what we would like out of this.
Get yourself the coloring book, folks.
It's pretty cool, dude. I like it. So we had Brian on a few weeks ago. He, we asked him if he had anything that we could go ahead and give away, and that was it. So definitely happy about it. And then as far as what I'm currently playing, my wife and I beat Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart last night, and we platinumed it.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that's an easy platinum, like when it was all said and done. So we definitely enjoyed that one. She enjoyed it, which is always important as well. And our next game that we're going to play is going to be Super Mario RPG on the Nintendo Switch. I am, of course, still playing AM2R on PC. So that I just got the Ice Beam in that game, and I just beat another boss recently. The area I am in is, I don't remember. It's like an underwater area where the ice beam is located. I don't remember, but I picked up the ice beam and said, "Cool, that's where I'll stop. I'll move forward when I get a chance." And then once I beat that, I got to figure out my next game. It might honestly be Plague Tale Requiem. We'll see. Not sure. Or it could be SimCity. Maybe I decide to dabble into that a little bit more. All right. How about you?
Going full in. So I've been real busy this week. I've been working late. Helped a friend move a little bit. So no gaming for me this week. I know. We're all disappointed. Bug Fables. I need to play it. It's like a 30-hour game. I'm like an hour in. So I gotta
Whoa, that
really,
game's 30 hours?
I don't know. That's what Zach was saying. I've looked it up before. I think it's less than that.
I don't think it's that long.
Yeah, I
'Cause
think it might be like 22, 25. Are you looking it up?
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now. I
So
didn't
I've been
think it was
playing a
that
bunch
long.
of Pokemon TCG Pocket again this week. Everybody's still digging that. How long is it, John?
All right. So if you complete the main story, Ryan, you were looking at 25 and a half hours. If you
Okay.
finish up the main and sides, you're looking at 36 and a half. And if you're a completionist, 50 and a half hours.
Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah. But you could speed
I'm a
run it.
doist.
It says there's a speed run of 2 hours and there's a speed run of 9.5 hours.
Okay, both doable.
Yeah. Yeah.
All
So
right.
everyone listening and watching, go ahead and think of that punishment. I think it's gonna happen. Ryan's
Yeah,
got
and we are getting pretty close to the wire here.
38
Um,
days.
so
One
anyways,
thing I'll say before you continue. It does bring hope to people that start New Year's resolutions at the beginning of the year and fail midway through. You don't even get started till the end of the year and you still fail. So I mean,
oh yeah.
yeah. So you're a gift of hope for everybody, or beacon of hope.
I'm the hero's the people's hero.
Go on.
So anyways, Pokemon TCG Pocket.
Mm.
Still having fun with that. The Arcanine event is out now. That's kind of meh, mostly because I mean, I don't have 3 wonder picks to throw on these like rare fire cards that I already have pretty much most of them anyway. So, or I think I have all of them.
The
Sorry,
fire cards?
I'm falling asleep. It's so boring, this Arcanine event. Um, but I don't know. I've been keeping track of my stats a little bit. I probably won't do it anymore because it's just so gradual. And it's like looking at the difference between last week and this week, it's really just like telling. So I've gone up 1 level from 19 to 20. My collection has gone from 190 out of 226 to 192 out of 226. I've opened 142 boosters from 125 last week. So it's like, it seems like the slow kind of steady decline of rewards has really, made it a trickle of what's coming in. But I have been playing some more battling and doing some battling in the event space. That's been fun. My Dragonite deck is sick. It's just Dragonite and Weezing. It's nothing special.
Mhm.
And then what else was there with Pokemon TCG Pocket?
So, comparison's sake, I am at level 19 now. I just hit 19 this morning. I'm at 173 out of 226. I have 606 cards. Booster pack wise, I think I've opened 100 booster packs. Yeah, I've opened 102. And an Arcanine event does suck. I can confirm that. And I'm sitting at 20 hourglasses. So I have essentially every day tried to get at least like 5 battles in until I kind of cap out on my tickets, the store tickets I get, so I can cash those out into more hourglasses to open more packs. And the wonder picks, of
Hopefully that
course.
store refreshes and we could buy more hourglasses again when December rolls around.
Yeah, so yeah, especially the like 12 for 6 would be great because right now it's 18 for 6. And that refreshes on a monthly basis. But I don't know if the other one up top is just like that's it, it's capped out type of situation.
Yeah, like a one-time.
Yeah, which would suck because it's always on there. Um, So yeah, and then I did decide to cancel because I was like, in the week that I've had this like premium trial, it's offered no additional value on a
It's
monthly
just the
basis.
extra packs.
It's just an extra pack. And so you're paying for one extra pack a day for a month. Like that's not exactly worth it, you know? And the battling in my experience so far is so bad. Like coin flip to see who goes first. You always want to go second because you get the first attack, first energy. Go in first, you don't get the attaching energy. You can't use any of your support cards. Things like it's stupid. Like you can't evolve your Pokemon until later. So I'm finding that the battle system is kind of wonky and that it feels more like an afterthought, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm still doing it because I'm playing Arbok and the Arbok and Weezing deck, and it's pretty decent overall. But I have enough
Oh, the
cards
Team
to
Rocket
build.
deck?
Yeah, and then I have enough cards to build like the Articuno EX. Like I could do that no problem. Which I think is just like support cards and just literally 2 Articunos.
Yeah.
Like that's all it is. That deck is disgusting. Uh, Especially if they can flip off that Misty right away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's gross. So, all right, sorry. Go on to Pokemon on your end.
Yeah. No, that's all. Pokemon is going pretty well. I'm excited for, what the future of this has, but I'll probably kind of like slow down chatting about it because I really need to get to work with this Bug Fables thing.
Yeah, I would say you do. Um, okay, so then let's go ahead and talk about our discussion topic, which this week we're going to discuss more via D&D session that you've been hosting for us, and we're almost done with that. We've got one more session to go, it sounds like. But if you want to recap us, and I can add some commentary on what's happened since we last talked about it.
Yeah. So our heroes went into rescue or try to find, another young man that the wizard Rainey had sent off for his own little quest. They went to the goblins infested, like these ruins of this kind of watchtower, kind of, little garrison fort that had been long since ruined. Of course, the players, naturally split the party. They sent one Borkle Saxpants, our own John, the Goblin Bard, to just kind of follow and talk to the goblins and put on a performance for them, and just kind of do as much distracting as he could. And then, like good players, they circled around back. They found the hidden entrance. After arguing about the properties of a false wall for a little while, eventually they just kind of killed everybody. They just kind of fireballed everything,
That was
and
hilarious.
it was not well. It did not go well for the goblins. The heroes cleaned up there pretty well.
Well, I
After
mean, I did find it was interesting because you said split the party, and like you said, it's always something you don't do. But when you have a guy that has a plus 12 performance and is drawing out 20 something goblins from a cave out of 40. And the only reason we knew it was 40 is because, well, I was able to charm some goblins on the way and learned what their numbers were and who their leader was and, everything about the goblins and what they
you got all
enjoyed for
the
music.
insight.
Got all the internal details. And of course, I'm a goblin, so I get to talk really loud. So the other players who are stealthily watching up above under, just kind of keeping an eye on Borkle and what he's doing, were able to hear all the details. And there was a lot, like you said, a lot of fireballs. And I think my favorite part of that entire session was saxophone versions of pop music and having NSYNC's Bye 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 as the goblins were all incinerated by fireball. That
Yeah,
might have been my favorite. Yeah.
it was good.
Yeah. It was good.
So the party rescued one Flynn Questerson from his fate with the goblins and set back to, Rainey's Tower again. They had actually uh, ended up using the great sword that they found on the battlefield to open a secret locked chamber beneath the fort garrison, and got access to a bunch of extra treasure. So they left there pretty stacked. They went back to Rainey's Tower, and he actually let them know that the actual individual that they had been seeking this whole time had come back by, and he sent them again off elsewhere, as a wizard is apt to do in that situation. So the party follows the trail. They eventually find the cave in which this young man had been sent, and inside they found him, but not how they expected. John, what did you guys find?
We found a random barrel of a bunch of stone pieces, and as we put together the puzzle of stone pieces, learned that that was the individual we were looking for, petrified and broken and shattered.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, and then you said there's some scratching and clawing and noises coming from the distance, and as before that even occurred, I looked at the party and said, "So if he's in a bucket and broken, and we just saw him, or apparently he was seen like a day ago." That probably means that whatever did this is still here, and at that point, invisibility on my character, and I ran to a corner because my HP sucks. Everybody's sitting at, like, 85 to 100 something HP. Borkel's got 50. He's got the
Mm-hmm.
shittiest stats possible, and in fact, when I was re-rolling my HP for level 8, I rolled the lowest I could roll. So, yeah, outside of a 1 because we had to re-roll once. So, maybe not the lowest, but I got 3 extra HP. That put me at 50 instead of a 49 I was anticipating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the party was set upon by, I made some hybrid lizard men, basilisk powered. So they're like basilisk men attacking the party. Uh, of course, Joel had this like crazy spell that I didn't even know about that just like instantly was like the perfect thing and just started shredding guys. And then a Wells Place fireball, helped to finish off any others that I had sitting around at the moment. And we kind of concluded like at the ending of this kind of first encounter in this cave with these basilisk men, and the party is starting to kind of draw together some suspicions, and we'll see where things conclude from here.
We think it's Rainy the Wizard. That's what we think. We'll see if it's him or not. Ryan has a tendency of putting evil wizards in places for big bads in the couple campaigns he's run with us. So I am anticipating a wizard bad guy. You remember? You remember the first campaign we ever played, and I think I was a paladin of some sort, but I had some smites, and we were like level 5. And you had this big bad wizard, and I one shot him.
Something like that.
It
Yeah.
was something stupid. You're like, well, that's the
That's how it
campaign.
goes. That's how it goes. Life's cheap in Magic,
Yeah, definitely, definitely
especially for
appreciate that.
bad
That was fun.
guys. Bad guys die quickly.
Yeah. Well, some bad guys don't die quickly. Speaking of which, Sony is looking to acquire the From Software parent company, Kadokawa. And so this is from Allie Jones at, well, you have Games Radar, but it's actually The Verge is where the article comes from.
Oh,
So
it
I don't
is.
know. Yeah, yeah. You messed up my
Games
notes again,
Radar was
Ryan.
the other article that we were looking at,
Yeah,
the
well,
the
she
Golden
shifted around.
Joystick one.
It's all good. Normally, I just say Verge anyways. I don't usually say a person's name. Um, So yeah, I mean, I this is all kind of speculation. They've confirmed, at least as of the time of this recording, that Sony did put in a request to acquire them or make purchase of the company. We know that Tencent owns a portion of it. We also know Sony has a stake in From Software. So I mean, it really is the perfect marrying of companies. I don't see this company ever wanting to be sold to a Microsoft, potentially a Nintendo, but they don't really do much business with them, I suppose, if you think about it. So really this, and I mentioned this a long time ago, right? During the Activision Blizzard acquisition process, that Sony's perfect response would be to purchase From Software and get those titles.
Well,
Uh,
and I mean, this is so much bigger than just From Software
yeah,
too. So Kadokawa, for anybody who doesn't know, they also are heavy into anime and manga. I'm pretty sure they own Bookwalker because I always hear Kadokawa and Bookwalker mentioned in like some promos from Mother's Basement and other people who are doing, uh, ad ad deals on videos. But basically, this would be huge. I mean, Sony already had Funimation and Crunchyroll and merged those. So getting their hands kind of even more in control on some of that anime manga licensing, and then, you know, everything that From Software has. I mean, that's huge. These games do really well, and Sony could make a ploy to make them potentially just uh you know, in-house first party developers at that point and then maybe make them exclusive to Sony. But with the way things are going and how Microsoft is kind of going multi-publisher, platform,
I feel like they
and
have to, though, in a sense. They do have a good market cap, right? Like, it's a huge company, but I feel like with those acquisitions, they kind of have to justify it.
I mean, maybe, like, who knows, like, what the FromSoft portion of the profitability of Kadokawa really is. I don't, but if it's a big bulk, but like if that's just kind of something that they own somehow from like a long time ago,
Yeah.
and maybe they make a bulk of their money in other ventures, you know, it might just be the feather in the cap of the purchase. Who knows? But
Yeah.
I'm wondering if Sony will decide, hey, whatever Microsoft copies of Elden Ring were sold and Shadow of the Erdtree were sold, you know, are they really going to have that much going on the next generation of Microsoft? Like if they're already on their way out, might as well just make it an exclusive. And then whenever you decide to do a PC port, if you really are feeling frisky, you could do a Switch 2 port of, something.
Yeah, I mean, that's always a possibility. I think what'll be big from this, and somebody will correct me if I'm wrong on this in the comments, but my understanding is like Sony has requested things like Bloodborne 2, for example, and they have not wanted to make this. Well, if Sony now own, because Sony does own that IP, they also own a Demon Souls IP, hence why they were able to go through like Blue Point Games. I think it was Blue Point to go ahead and create the new Demon Souls remaster remake. So I think it is like a clear opportunity here from Sony to get that Bloodborne 2, right? Make, of course, it already is exclusive to PS4, but you know, Bloodborne 2 would be huge. People have been dying for that. If we've talked about remasters, not that I would like to see a remaster for that game, but that's always a possibility. Porting it to, Xbox is always a possibility if they wanted to do that, or putting it onto Nintendo. So I think with this type of acquisition, a lot of gamers are saying, well, I'm not a fan of consolidation, and I don't want to see From Software owned by just Sony. I think we have to kind of look at it from the lens of Sony's probably going to want more out of this partnership than what From Software has really wanted to do, and now they'll be able to have their way on that. So I think it's a good thing for gaming right now. This type of consolidation outside of when you look at like that Activision acquisition, that was tons and tons of IPs that are now just sitting there and may not get used. I think Sony will actively um, push a lot of these older IPs out and really do the most of it outside of like what From Software could have done. And then
Well,
you have to
let's
think about
hope so.
budget too. Yeah, you got to think about budget too. Like they probably have more money available to them now by going directly through Sony.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well,
So, next up, we are taking a look at the Golden Joystick Awards this year. Um, Specifically, we've got here Ali Jones at Games Radar, but I mean, you could probably see these listed in a number of places. Biggest winners this year are Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Helldivers 2, and Black Myth Wukong.
and
Uh,
Balatro.
and yeah, Belatro's in there too. There was lots of awards, so we're not going to go through all of them, but Final Fantasy VII Rebirth took home a lot of awards, including best soundtrack, storytelling, lead performer, and supporting performer. Black with Wukong, of course, took the coveted Game of the Year award, and I think a lot of people are pretty happy about that. I mean, from everything that I heard, it's you know Dark Souls, but mostly just the boss parts and a lot of them, and very well done. And I remember seeing trailers for this game years ago and being like, "Oh my god, it looks so good," and it does look so good. And this is a game that, like, when I do get a PS5, I'll certainly be checking this one out because it's still not out on the Xbox.
It is getting a physical release on PS5, so that'll be pretty cool. So if you haven't pre-ordered that, you can definitely do that one. I'm very happy to see that Golden Joystick Awards has a Best Game Expansion section, unlike the Game Awards, where they're putting Shadow of the Erdtree up for their game of the year.
Mhm.
Erdtree did, of course, win Best Game Expansion, rightfully so. We've heard a lot of good things about that. I haven't played it yet, but I definitely want to. And yeah, I think that's the way you got to do it, right? Like, why not like create another category? It's okay. Clearly, Golden Joystick Awards is able to do it. Why can't the Game Awards do it?
Yeah. I also like the best game adaptation Fallout. The Fallout show was awesome this year.
Yep,
I
I
look
agree.
forward to it winning like a bunch of awards and stuff itself at some point. And then
Best gaming hardware. I didn't realize that was a category until checking this article out. Golden Joystick Awards always kind of pops up out of nowhere for me because I always look towards the Game Awards. But
mhm.
Steam Deck OLED actually won the best hardware, so it's pretty cool.
And then the last one on here that I really feel the need to call out is for the future of Game Awards. Right here, most wanted game, GTA 6. Like, are we even going to have Game Awards when GTA 6 comes out,
No, they're
or
gonna
is it
win
just going to
everything.
win everything? Like, just send them the awards. We're going to just call it off this year.
Yeah, they're gonna have like an indie game built into GTA 6. So it'll be like, insert indie game name here in GTA
Mhm.
6. Yeah, it's that is gonna well, I mean, we hope that it's everything that it should be and more. I think it's setting in Miami, if I recall, and you get to do all of South Florida up to like Okeechobee, which is gonna be insanely big. I can't wait. That is gonna be the first GTA that I probably honestly buy day one. Like, I'm pretty stoked about that. Now, unless they go through and are like, "Oh, yeah, it's gonna be like $110 for inflation purposes," then they might not get my money right away.
Right. So yeah, this is just kind of the first awards. We'll definitely talk about the game awards and maybe another few things depending on what comes up. But at the end of the year, we'll see if it's if Black Myth Wukong is kind of the dominant choice, or if other game awards kind of have different results.
Yeah, I would like to definitely look at those and do, like, a comparison across the 2 shows and, to kind of correct a little bit of what I had stated last week on the Game Awards specifically. It does look like it's a 10% user voting and a 90% committee vote that determines those award winners. So it does kind of still, go back to what I was saying, financially motivated decisions on something like this. So I will be very interested to see if it ends up being Erdtree or if it ends up being Wukong.
Well, speaking of financially motivated decisions, John,
All
SimCity
right,
2000.
dude. I aged myself when we chose this. I was like, this game came out in '93 because it was supposed to be like progressive towards like, oh, we're thinking about 7 years ahead in 2000. Dude, what the hell? 31 years ago?
Old
Come on.
game. Old
But
game.
so this game was developed by Maxis, published by Maxis, designed by Will Wright and Fred Haslam. Released, of course, December of 1993. It is a city building type game, and the original PC game was very well received, port 4.5 out of 5. I used to play this on Macs when I was younger because that's what our school would offer. Is we had the old iMacs that had the different color backing on it
Yeah,
and such. Yeah, it
everybody
was
did.
yeah. Well, we had older Macs than that, and it was awesome when we got the first ones in at that
Mhm.
point. So I loved this game growing up, and I'm excited to hear your perspective on it. But if you can give us a synopsis, then we'll dive in.
Yeah, so we played the PS1 version of SimCity 2000, based on the Genesis port of the original PC game. You take control as the mayor of a city. You plan and manage everything from utilities to zoning, and trying to make the, I guess, best city, happiest city, most profitable city. I don't know. You're just trying to do the city the best that you can manage.
Well, and the cool thing with this particular game is, yes, you're able to do that, but you're able to start at different periods of time. So I think it starts you at like 1900, 1950. 1980s, and in the year 2000, if I recall. It might go to 90 as well.
Mm.
So you do have an option that you could select at the very beginning to kind of speed it up. So you're not like your city grows obviously over time. So as you're developing it, it ages and things kind of progress, right? Your options, as far as I remember. And we didn't get that far, obviously, to do that. But then you can start in the year 2000 and it changes different things, right? So all of your buildings and such are obviously modernized at that point, right? Or futuristic based on what was released. But then so are like the forms of destruction. So within SimCity, you have destructive moments that can like fires and tornadoes and things of that nature to destroy your city. So you have to rebuild and, kind of maintain your infrastructure and such. But in SimCity 2000, you can actually have aliens attack during the year 2000. So kind of tells you where we were at that point too.
Right.
Uh, I will say that I had a rough time with this at first. Uh, I've always loved SimCity, but playing on a controller is the most horrendous idea I ever had for SimCity. This game absolutely 100% needs a mouse to be truly enjoyed the way that it needs to be. It's to me, it was very sluggish on the controller, trying to move
It's
around and
almost like
select.
it's like an accelerating mouse cursor. Like I feel like you have to like ramp up the speed by holding down the D-pad.
Yeah. And then like you'll overshoot certain items. The game
Mhm.
itself is not friendly. Like if you don't have a manual for this game, you're screwed. Like you got to go
Oh,
online and like you have to have a manual for this
I'm
game.
glad
This
you told me about the manual.
yeah,
John was
so
like, "You need to look at the manual," and I think that's why I had a better time than you.
yeah, like I did not at first. And so I'm digging through and like in the screen and it doesn't tell you anything. Like you can kind of get an idea and say, "Oh, well that's a building." And then it has like a little house and a big house. You're like, the hell's that? Like, it's been so long since I played, I didn't know. And then there was like clearly an industry building, clearly like a commercial type building. And so I'm like, what the heck? And I made my little squares. I built my roads. I hooked up power lines, did all these things to it, hooked up. I didn't hook up water at the time because I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Set up like coal plants for like power, water, like what is it, like a spring or well or something. And it was able to like connect things in that nature. But I was like, nothing's working. Like, what the heck's going on? And so as I dig through, it's like, oh, to build the perfect city, follow these steps. Oh,
Yeah.
by the way, this image that you see is zoning imagery. This
Yeah.
is small zoning. This is commercials or light zoning and heavy zoning. This is commercial zoning. This is industry zoning. Like you have to have these several things built before anything will ever happen. So you have to have commercial zoning so that way people can shop. You have to have residential so they can live. You have to have the industrial zoning so they can work. Everything has to be hit by power and everything has to have water. Once you have those things in place, your Sims begin to thrive. Well, then that's where the other things come in of as money is generated from taxes, right? Because that's how you continue to develop money through the game. Once that is all set, you build your other foundational pieces like your city hall, your police, your school, all of that stuff. And your Sims, there's like a news report that comes up that will tell you, oh, well, this is what your city residents are looking for. They are, everything is going well, but they really wish that they had higher level education. Okay, cool. I should build a college, right? That's what I need to do now. So it does kind of walk you through long term, but the whole situation with using a control really bogs it down and it doesn't make it as pleasant of an experience, but it's still a fun experience overall.
Yeah. Um, I think that having that manual is an absolute necessity. And especially if you look like I took a look back this morning, I watched LGR's video from last year. He did like a 30th anniversary look back on SimCity 2000. And the manual that comes with the PC version is huge. I mean, a lot of PC games came with like dense manuals that explained all these complex games and stuff. And then on this port, it's just, you're trying to kind of make the best of what you can with what you've got there. And there's just like no tooltip hover over or anything, like nothing's labeled in any ways. Like at one point, I was trying to build roads and I wasn't able to build roads, except I was building roads. I just couldn't see the roads I was building because I had somehow hit a button that makes it so the roads you've built, you can't see them anymore. And I'm
Yeah,
like, why is there a button for taking the roads away? Like when they're there. And so I just restarted the game from the beginning, and then I kind of was able to get a lot better start. And it was actually kind of like fun. I've never really done a lot of city building games before. I had this game as a kid, but my PC was so garbage it just wouldn't even work on there. So I did not have pleasant memories of this, and it was not something I ever held in high regard. But like sitting there and playing with it, it was actually pretty fun. I was playing it on my like tiny PS1 with the little screen too, because like I couldn't get my AV cables to work to hook it up to my TV. But like I think if I was a kid and I had this on the PS1 with that little screen, and I could have like, Digimon or some Saturday morning cartoon or something on in the background, and just kind of watching my civilization get a little bit better and seeing the newspapers fly up and trying to figure out what to do next, I think that would have been a really good time.
and so one of the things I really like about this game in particular, and why I enjoyed it so much growing up, is you get to see things expand on their own. It's not like Factorio or even like The Sims, for example. Like The Sims, you got your money, you're building things, like you're creating it and it's done, right? Like SimCity is cool. Like you get to see the city evolve long term. Now, yes, you're doing the zoning and you're kind of planning things out, but like you see little buildings pop up. You see like the cars going, and this one has a 3D mode too. So you like check out, like drive your actual city, which I don't remember ever being a thing.
Oh, that was
Um,
cool. I did that on accident. I was like, "Oh,
yeah,
neat." And you could turn
yeah,
and see like your arm.
yeah. It takes forever to load because the game is just
Mhm.
so old. But yeah, I mean, I had a great time with it. So um, brass tacks on it. So we're looking at complete in boxes 1244. It peaked at 1409 in June of 2024, and it's trending up. A loose copy will run you 546. That peaked at 999 November of '07. That's trending down. Digital PC copy right now will run you 599 on GOG and EA. I think for a physical copy, you kind of have to get that. You have to get it
Yeah,
with a
you
manual.
need this
There's
complete in box
Yeah, unless you wanna, like,
more than
scour
other
the internet.
games.
Yeah, so I would say if it has a manual and disc, you're cool. You could cheapen out if you don't want the case, but it is a cool case. I think at 1244, I mean,
I think it works.
yes, but if you want the best experience, you have to do it on PC. Unless you have a PlayStation mouse right now, you've gotta play this game on a PC.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely gonna have a better time on PC for sure. If you're just like a Sims collector and you like collecting all the different versions of the Sims, I think that that's a thing people do. Um, I would say 1244 isn't an outrageous price to have to pay for this game.
Yeah,
So I won't say that. I'll call it just right, because it's like I don't feel like it's really overvalued, and you certainly could, it could be way worse.
yeah,
I
I
don't think that
agree.
that's a lot to spend on this game, even on the PS1. Like I had enough fun that I think I could easily get 10-15 bucks of enjoyment out of this game. I like a double case. It is a double case, which is cool.
Mhm.
It's got, the SimCity 2000 artwork is pretty iconic.
Yeah.
I'd say for, 1250 is just right.
Yeah, I agree with that. I picked mine up for about $11 or $10, and I'm overall pretty happy with the purchase for a complete in box. As I said, I would personally steer towards the 599, but I will say that this price is just right.
Awesome.
Cool. Well, our next game that we're going to be talking about next week will be Red Faction on the PlayStation 2. We'll, of course, have our next 4 games announced pretty soon. And then, as I mentioned earlier in the episode, we do have an episode release going out Wednesday for midweek. We're going to be talking about J Rod over at Fresh Brewed Games. So, talking about their Steel books that they're publishing for PS5 right now is what they're looking at. So, pretty cool stuff happening over there. So, quick, short, and sweet episode. I think it was like 20 minutes. So, definitely enjoy that. And that'll get you, if you listen to it back to back on Wednesday, that's 1 full hour of the Game Deflators for your commute.
Woo!
Woo. Cool. All right. Well, until then, this has been episode 315 of the Game Deflators podcast. My name's John,
I'm Ryan.
and thanks for listening.